here on this Thursday, rolling with you for the next 5 hours, all the way till 7 o'clock, and no boring baseball. No baseball, no Yankee baseball, as they are off on this Thursday. And obviously coming off a crazy Wednesday night and crazy weather. I think I heard the new governor call it a once in a 500-year happening in this tri-state area with the amount of rain we got just absolutely doused with. John Sterling getting trapped in cars. We've all felt it some way or another. I had a little leak in my basement, felt it on the walk home, that's for sure. Luke, how are we doing on this Thursday?
Mac, I'll tell you what, you did the right thing there out of the open, because I don't know how you can transition out of, I had a threesome with her. You can't really do the announcer. Well, it's 2:03 here on this Thursday morning. So, that was a good job by you doing a little more comedic thing coming out of the open there.
Part of the reason we're here, let's be fair, we're on the other side of the glass now in front of the microphones. We're part of the Carton and Roberts universe.
Well, if you ask Craig, the only reason we're here is because of him. But yes,
no question. And we'll have to thank him several more than we had to thank him for the air fryer. That's for sure.
Well, absolutely, yeah. And I won't give this show to my mom, much like I did the air fryer. This one I'll keep for myself.
So how you feeling? You feeling good on this?
I'm feeling good. Everybody good. Everybody safe. Everybody healthy.
Yes,
a wild night in the tri-state area, to say the least. Last night.
Hopefully, everyone's dried out by now. Seems to, But I mean, on the ride in, I heard Malusis's harrowing tale of the ways and everything else he had to deal with on the way in. Thankfully, by the time I came here, the commute wasn't so bad. But
it was more about last night, because I left here about 7:30, and I usually walk home. I got an apartment in Chelsea, and I was debating, because I'll walk in anything. I've walked in snowstorms. I've walked in rainstorms. It's 15 degrees below zero. I take a lot of pride in liking to walk. It's 20, 25 minutes, not a big deal.
And who carries an umbrella? I don't ever check the weather. I always walk out, and I'm like, why don't I ever have an umbrella on me?
It's funny that you say that, because every time I leave my way, I was like, bring your umbrella. There's a 20% chance it's going to rain here.
But you know what?
I'll duck and run for cover.
As long as I got a hood.
Last night I had the umbrella, and I was going to walk home, but CeeLo texted me. He's like, dude, do not walk home. Get an Uber. He's like, my umbrella almost snapped in half. I was like, come on. And then I looked outside. I was like, yeah, I'm going to call the Uber. Not a lot of flooding when I got driven home, but, first world problem. Should I take an Uber? Should I walk home? But, it was fine walking in. But then when I saw the pictures and the stuff on Twitter and the news, it was just wild. And then we heard that story with Ricky Ricardo and John Sterling. And just an amazing night. Like I said, historic levels of rain and flooding. So hopefully everybody's okay. Hopefully you and your loved ones are doing well. And stay home if you have to.
Absolutely. Yeah, like we've never seen before.
For sure.
But it was sunny in Anaheim. And we got to get into what we saw last night from the New York Yankees and their ace. That's right. Everyone knows it. The ace of the New York Yankees. We've seen it before from him. We've had opportunities to see this guy. I remember a game against the Red Sox, heading into that big series in Fenway, and he was terrible in the first inning, and he was awful. Then, of course, the very famous first game of the doubleheader against the New York Mets on the 4th of July, when the Yankees were heading in stumbling. That's where they were last night, heading in on a 4-game losing streak after the 13 wins in a row, and everybody's questioning where this team is now. Yep. The Rays never lose, and we'll get into them. And everything, the embattled nature, the pitching staff, and the way they were the last 4 games, whether it's Tyone or whether it's Kluber coming back for the first start. The pitching wasn't great in Anaheim. The Angels were scoring runs, winning games. They lose the last 2 against Oakland. And heading into that night, you needed the ace to show up, and that's exactly what Garrett Cole was last night. A horse. He went out there for the easy 6, and then on his way into the dugout, just like he did against the Astros a few months back before the All-Star break. Cool. That 129 pitch, 1-hit performance. Screaming and booing in the dugout. No. I'm good. Because he was ready. 100 pitches, 6 innings in. They were ready to give up on him. Boone was ready to say, hey, we got Loizaga all warmed up. No need to go back out there. But Cole, the horse that he is, absolutely dominated and went back out there and had more to give in the 7th.
Yeah, and it's funny. We used to have the cliche jar here. Every time you said a cliche, you had to throw $1 in it. So I'm probably
$3 in already.
Well, you're $3 in. I'm about to donate it back, because if I look at my cliche sheet I got right here, and the job of the ace is to stop a losing streak and go and pitch like the way Cole did last night, striking out 15 guys. Ohtani three times. How about Chapman looking good in the 9th? I saw a couple people on Twitter. And I told you I wasn't on Twitter when I was watching the Yankee game, because I didn't want to see any AEW spoilers. But after after I watched wrestling, I went on Twitter and I saw people, how do you take Loizac out? And then you had to walk that back real quick. So Yankee fans, you're happy. Chapman pitched well. Loizac pitched well. Cole went out there.
And like
arguably his best start of the season, maybe the one in Houston. I mean, certainly top 2, 3.
Swing and miss stuff. You can argue he was as good last night as he's been all
Yeah,
year.
dude, he was
no
filthy.
question.
And going back to your hometown like that, how about that? That's like when you go back to your home like that.
Driving
and you're
to Tacoma.
4-game, driving the old 2007, 2006 Tacoma.
Right.
Pitching a game like that when the Yankees needed it was big time stuff there from Garrett
and not
Cole,
only
for sure.
that, but here's the thing. Here's the real thing. I'm watching the game. I'm dealing with some flooding in the basement like everybody has. But you know me, I get home late, so I have Twitter off, so I'm oblivious to the world.
You're DVRing the game.
I DVR the game. Yeah. I'm like Evan. I want to watch every single inning. I want to score it. I'm a baseball nerd. I love my Yankees. So I get home, talk to the wife. We're aware a little bit. Obviously, I was stuck in the rain on the way home, but it's just a rainstorm. I'm not aware of everything that's going on. So I'm the most selfish person on earth, cursing up a storm that I got a puddle. A little puddle in my basement because I got to deal with this. I'm supposed to watch the Yankees. I mean, I'm only hosting Afternoon Drive tomorrow afternoon. So, I mean, you think I wouldn't have to deal with this stuff. Meanwhile, I come back to World and you see what's going on and how lucky I am to have a puddle. But as I'm watching the game, I finally sit down after dealing with that and I start going through the game and I start to just, as I watch it, have a vision. And I am transported from my seat in Warwick to the seats of Yankee Stadium on October 5th in the wild card game.
Chill in the air.
Chill in the air. Today had a beautiful chill in the air. Today it's September and it feels like it and it's fantastic and it's football weather and it's postseason Yankee baseball weather.
Great.
I don't know. Yeah, I know you're not familiar with it as a Met fan.
I'm not.
I apologize.
No, I always say I root for two teams: the Mets and whoever's playing the Yankees in October.
I was transported from my house in Warwick and into Yankee Stadium on October 5th because watching that game, and let's be fair, the Yankees are playing in the wild card game.
Yes.
I'm as big a Yankee homer as you can get. They are now 7 games behind, picked up a game on the Rays after losing to Boston, but this Rays team doesn't lose. The amount of games the Yankees would need to win and the amount of games the Rays would need to lose more specifically for this division to fall in the Yankees' hands. It's not happening.
Nope.
They never, with this ragtag bunch, the island of misfit toys, this roster that I couldn't, every time I look at it, I know Evan says it a lot, and I always feel the same way. Rays are a feisty team, but they won't be there in the end. Rays are a feisty team. They'll be better than you think, but they're not good enough to be the class of this division. And year in and year out, with the pitching staff falling apart, losing Glass now, trading Snell, everybody, which you start the season with the entire dominant bullpen that blew away the Yankees in that ALDS last year, all on the IL to start the year. You have no idea how they're going to do it. And with the likes of, Chow and Lou and
they
Lau
got off to a shaky start, but they do it with smoke and mirrors.
And guys like that, they call up, they have the Francos of the world, the top prospects who come up and play well and reach base, 50, 60 games in a row. But for the most part, you have no idea how Kevin Cash and those brilliant Rays do it. They're going to win the division again. And you have to just wrap your mind around the fact that the Yankees are going to play in the wild card game. And as I'm watching that game, you mentioned a couple of the reasons. But this game just checked every box for a one-game situation. You saw what Cole was, and he is a horse. And that's what I love about him. And it looks like it's going to be Yankees and Sox, right? That's what everyone thinks it's going to be. They're 2 games up on the Sox, 4 games up on Oakland. Boston's 2 games up on Oakland for the second wild card spot. And I know everyone, you got Sale in that game. And Sale pitched well last night.
He's pitched very well since coming back from Tom John.
Threw 95 pitches in 6 innings. But here's the deal. He's still coming off injury.
Yep.
And right now, there is no guy who can give you more late in the game as a starting pitcher than Garrett Cole. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts around it. He can throw 130. He's still throwing 100 miles an hour, striking out the best hitter on the planet, doing everything you want to see in that game. Feisty, anger, wants to be out there. Since he's come back from the COVID IL, since he's come back from that COVID list, he has been dominant like we haven't seen him all year. So you got that. Then you get to Loizac in the 8th. He's as quick an inning as you can possibly imagine. He's just been lights out besides the one bad start against the one bad inning against the Red Sox where he blew a 4-run lead in the 8th inning. Besides that, he's their best reliever. He is the 8th inning guy. He has completely jumped over Chad Green. There's no doubt in my mind in the Aaron Boone trust factor. He is now the 8th inning guy. And then to top it off, you get a home run from Judge, 30th of the year, the team's MVP. Luke Voit, who should be playing a hell of a lot more than he is right now, comes through the big hit. They have a couple of clutch hits, score a couple runs, dominant starting pitching. middle of the relief guy in Loizaga, and then the biggest question mark on this team right now, the back end of the bullpen. Chapman last night looked as good as we saw him back at the beginning of the year when he was the best reliever in baseball. It's easy to forget with how bad he's been. But there were times this year he was the best reliever in baseball, and last night, right out of the gate, 101 down the middle.
Yeah, he got Ohtani to pop
corners.
up, and you knew it was going to be easy sailing after that. Once he got through Ohtani, it was like, all right, put the feet up. He's going to close us out in a heartbeat, and that's what he did.
That's easy. Maybe for non-Yankee fans, and you just assume the Yankees are on the way to the World Series, which I know you have that complex.
Oh, I wake up every day thinking the Yankees are going to make it to the World Series, no doubt about it.
But the fact of the matter is, Chapman has still gotten the first out of innings and then thrown 10 balls in a row, and he was locked in from the beginning of his inning, throwing 100, 101. And you could tell real quick with him, too, because he'll come out and throw 95, 96 on his first 3 fastballs, and you're like, he doesn't have it tonight. Mm-hmm. So if they can get Chapman to pitch the way he pitched, Loizaga to still be that stud, and to have Garrett Cole be the guy on that mound I don't care if it's Chris Sale, I don't care if it's whomever with Oakland.
I mean, if it's the Red Sox right now, it looks like it's going to be Sale.
Right.
And obviously, Yankees, Red Sox, wild card game. If you get that out of Garrett Cole in the back of the bullpens like that, the Yankees, it's going to be smooth sailing for them in that wild card game. And that's going to be great theater, because if you start to look at Yankees, Red Sox, wild card game, then move on to the Rays. Then, if you could ever get that matchup with the Astros, for what we do here in radio, for what we do as fans, Yankee fans, that would be such great drama, such great theater, because you have the heels, the bad guys, as I call them, in the Astros, facing the Yankees. It will be phenomenal.
You just brought up what I like to call the ladder of revenge.
Correct.
And that's exactly what I'm looking for. But beyond the Red Sox, the Rays, the A's, I've resigned myself, and I want Yankee fans to resign themselves, and it's okay. It's okay. You can get to the World Series through the wild card game. Stop worrying about what the Rays will have to do, or think, oh, wow, and then you throw Cole in the wild card game, and then I can't pitch until the third game of the ALDS. Whatever.
These are nice problems to have, by the way.
The fact of the matter is, the Yankees are going to be in the wild card game, and you saw last night, yes, it's against the Angels, a team that scored a whole bunch of runs against the Yankees the first couple games of the series. So they have a good lineup. They just can never get any damn pitching.
Ever.
They
threw a guy last night that even Evan hasn't heard of. Right. So when Evan Roberts looks at the box score and doesn't know the starting pitcher, that's when you got big-time problems. And it's not like the Yankees teed off on him by any stretch of the imagination. But, the Angels are throwing out, what was his name? Hacky Norton or whatever the heck his name was?
You nailed it.
Yeah, he pitched like a hack. So, I mean, it was that
he wasn't that bad.
No, he wasn't
Again,
terrible. I'm joking.
The Yankees always struggle against first-time
They do, but
guys,
they got out in the jump. But obviously Cole and the bullpen was a big story.
And you still haven't seen that lineup that you're really looking for. Last night they gave Stanton the night off. Obviously, Cole's pitching, so Sanchez isn't going to catch, which is really my only fear right now about the wild card game, is that Higashioka is going to be the catcher in that
And you're
game.
the number one person in the fan club of Gary Sanchez, as we know.
I'm
There's
right
no
at the top,
bigger
if not the
supporter
number one.
here, certainly, than for Gary Sanchez than Chris McMonagle.
No, I happen to always, have his back. I've argued with many a caller over the years.
Do people still have posters? Do you have Gary Sanchez's poster?
I do not have a Gary
Does anybody
Sanchez
have posters
poster
anymore? I don't think so. There's no more
posters. It's been a
posters?
while for me, no. I don't really do posters anymore.
Did you have Pam Anderson as a poster when you were younger?
I think I might have had Pam.
Yeah, you got to have Pam.
She was on
there.
top of the world.
Pam, like maybe a Nick poster. Yankee pennant. Did you have a Yankee pennant?
I didn't really put stuff on my walls.
What do you mean you didn't put stuff on your walls?
I didn't put stuff on my walls.
What was on your wall? Nothing? Was it just blank white wall there?
Wood paneling.
Wood paneling.
The basement at the house back in Franklin Square was just wood paneling. Not a lot of stuff. Then I got into my psychedelic era of...
Psychedelic era?
Yeah, my psychedelic era.
What does that look like?
That looks like that box of glow-in-the-dark stars that you stick all over the place.
That sounds like something I did between the age of 18 and, what am I, 36 now? Yeah.
Well, it hit me more at like 14, 15.
14, 15.
I blossomed young.
Do you have a man cave at home?
I blossomed young. Do I have a man cave at home? I do not have a man cave.
You do not?
No.
So when you watch the Yankee game, it's just...
I have 2 kids.
I understand that, but I know you have the palatial suite up there.
Producer salary. There's no man cave.
Well, you're ordering, $45 shrimp, so I figured you might have...
God forbid I order a $12 shrimp on my wife's 40th birthday. I'm never going to live this stupid thing down. Why do I say anything? Why do I open up my big fat mouth?
Let me ask you this. When you get the cocktail sauce, right? You get the shrimp.
Well,
do you ask for extra horseradish? I always do. I want my eyes to have water coming out. Yeah, so you have the normal horseradish in the cocktail sauce, but then I order the extra horseradish.
You're making a mistake, and I'll tell you why.
Bring me some tissues while you're at it. I want to be sneezing at the table.
If I'm going to order $12 a piece shrimp, then I'm trusting their cocktail sauce. And if they give me bad cocktail sauce, it's a problem.
That's why you order the extra horseradish. You take it in your own hands.
No. It's going to affect the rest of the meal and my tip if I don't like the cocktail sauce that goes along with the $12 shrimp. And I'm putting it on them to make sure they impress me with the cocktail sauce.
So the tip, you're not one of these guys that the tip is no matter what. So like if you go into a situation, you're like, all right, the service was so-so, but I have a standard tip.
No,
it's
there are
based
things
on
you can't
performance.
do. There are things you can't do. And weak cocktail sauce with a $12 shrimp.
Have you ever not left a tip?
Oh, no, of course not. Of course you leave a tip.
Yeah, but what if it's like really, like they never filled up the water, they came over once or twice, you've always left a tip?
Always a tip.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even with the worst service, because here's the thing. There's times where you're like, I don't really want to leave a tip here. But you're thinking in the back end when you leave, oh boy, what's that person going to be saying about me? So you always want to leave, I don't know, what is it, 15% is the standard now, 20, 25, I don't know what it is. But my wife takes care of everything in my life, if you haven't noticed that yet. As you know, my wife does everything. So I just sort of boost it up. All right, well, next time.
282. Who knew we'd be talking about tips?
And shrimp?
And shrimp. I had a feeling
and
shrimp
the Yankees? That sounds like a pretty good Saturday night for C-Mac, let me tell you.
The Yankees end their losing streak with their ace, Garrett Cole, on the mound. He was terrific last night. And more importantly, to me, as a Yankee fan that has resigned himself to the wild card game, I watched last night and I saw the exact replica game I want. 7 strong, even 8 if possible from Cole. And the only other 2 pitchers, if Chapman's going like this, are Loizaga and Chapman. That's it. That's how I want it. Francesca used to call it the A game. You go right from Pettit to Mariano. I'm going to throw a little Loizaga in there and sprinkle it in. And that's the game. That's exactly how the Yankees go about winning this one game, winner take all, move on to the ALDS to take on those stupid Rays.
The stupid Rays.
The stupid Rays. That's the only way you refer to the Rays is those stupid Rays.
The stupid Rays that own you.
Not so much that they won the last series in the regular season.
Yeah, that's good. That and $3 will get you.
I'll take my chances when I get there. Who's in their rotation again? I have no idea, but yet they win 100 games. It makes no sense. McMonigle and Lugauer, Big Mac and the Lug, what the hell? We're here till 7 o'clock. We got a lot to get to. Obviously, we got to get to the Zach Scott story and the disaster that is the Mets and their front office.
Plenty to say about that.
The now suspended Zach Scott. We got a couple of fun things to throw your way. Look, it's Carton and Roberts. We're filling in. We're going to have fun till 7 o'clock. We're going to goof around. We're going to give you the sports. We're going to have a good time. That's what I like to do, and that's what I think you like to do, and that's what we're going to do till 7 o'clock. Me and Lug with you till then, right here on The Fan.